Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday, and welcome into Zelda Speedruns. Today we have Skyward Sword Randomizer Season 3 Tournament, the Winners Bracket Semifinals, Game 1 of the Best of 3 between Gymnast86 and YourAverageLink. Tracking today are Featherblade and Vibrant Viola, and commentating alongside me is Echo. How are you, Echo?
I'm doing great. It should be an exciting race, so...
Yeah, we were talking about this before, so... This is Gymnast is the 1 seed, Yal is the 5 seed, but this was the grand finals in season 2, which was late 2022. And Yal won that tournament, so very exciting race to have this early.
Yep.
Gymnast defeated. Who did he defeat to get here? I'm pulling up the bracket.
You, David, and me.
That's right. Yes, and Yal defeated Mario Runner and then Sledge in his races. So, yeah, and I hope you all see Jim is saying hi to all of you. Very important. Any dungeon predictions that you've got?
I think I'm going with Skyview, Fire Sanctuary, and Ancient Cistern.
I was gonna go with Earth Temple, LMF, and Ancient Cistern. I feel like we've gotten. Maybe this is just the qualifiers, but we got a lot of Ancient Cistern and not a lot of LMF.
Yeah, that's definitely the case.
But yeah, should be an interesting race. I'm trying to think of what else to say in the setup. The winner of this race will face the winner of Jasnix versus Audrey in the winners finals. The loser will go on to face actually we don't know yet, but anyway, we're underway. So let's see where our random spawn takes us. That is a pretty good random spawn. I see Skyview, Ancient Cistern, and Sandship. With Lake Floria and Caves Baron.
I think that's it.
Yeah. So at some point, it'll depend on what the runners do. We might see Volcano Summit. Okay. I was going to say we might see a Hintstone with 2 hints, but no. Couple things in Bokoblin base, but yeah, Elden Volcano start here especially is a pretty nice start, and
yeah, there are a lot of locations.
Yeah, Fire Shield earrings. Not sure how useful that's going to be, and I think it is a spiral charge start. I think that's what it has to be, since it wasn't an item that appeared on the B-Whale. Gymnast trying to take a peek, but I don't think if this were the HD version, you might be able to peek that item, but the resolution's not great. Is that a tablet? Looked like maybe there was a tablet on the cliff. Oh, it's harp start. I missed that. Okay. I missed the harp in the middle. Oh no, it's an Earth Temple key piece, which they don't need. Yeah. At first glance, it looked like it might have been a Amber tablet, but no. And welcome in Raiders from ZSR2, I think coming from the Link to the Past race. We are just getting underway.
That's a bow.
That is a very handy item to get right before you go into Magma Turf.
Yeah, it makes the complete fight way easier.
Yeah, that is one of those things that water dragon scale. Sorry, I think that was the scale on top of Magma Turf. Yeah, doing this fight with practice sword kind of stinks. Better than finding it after the goblins and turf. Yeah. You're speaking from experience. Let me turn Echo's audio up a little more. I know his mic is a little quiet. So yeah, kind of a convenient warp to start here, but not a whole lot here on the ground. I mean, the bow is going to open up Beetle's shop, which is actually one of those kind of not fun things this early in the seed when you don't have money.
Yeah, so maybe they'll find it on some of the skydive checks.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with 10 crystals if we see the runners do Betrow on their first Skyloft trip either. I feel like that is not always a bad idea if you don't have anything else. Spiral Charge Rocks are dead. What, was that a sword on the Gorgig spot?
It said something too aggressive and possibly acquired, so...
Yeah. It was a sword on the dig spot. And I saw AC Rupee was dead. Sword possibly required. I mean, that's pretty normal. If you saw a sword that was required, that would raise my suspicions a little bit.
Yeah, that would mean that there is probably another sword in Thunderhead or on Gorko.
Or on Zelda's Blessing. But yeah.
Yes.
Right. I forgot the Barons. It was Floria. Oh, I see it. Linear Cave. And Volcano Summit. I forgot I was getting the hint. Sorry about that. They should all be in. Yeah, we're seeing some kind of different routing. So because we don't start in Zelda's room, or in Link's room, we definitely see people route this Skyloft trip differently. I think Yal is doing kind of a version of what Jaznix has started doing, which is Waterfall Cave first, then going to Upper Skyloft. Whereas a lot of other people will just end here with their loop. It was a Forge Waterfall Cave start. He landed right by Waterfall Cave. And he is setting up a bit magic file. So this could be useful if you are in go mode when you do sand chip. Basically, the only reason he's setting up this file is to be able to do a trick to skip the boss fight in sand chip. Yeah, it's pretty much the only reason you'd really want to set up this file. But kind of hoping for something in Skyloft here.
Yeah, Skyloft is really dense with a lot of locations, so...
Yeah, the thing that's surprising to me is we haven't seen any path hints yet. Which is interesting. Usually you see at least one. But I would expect we're either going to see mitts or a bomb bag or a tablet somewhere in Skyloft.
That's the Ember tablet.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not getting a lot of money. Also, the runners are not really routing money in. I think Gymnast now thinking about it. If Beetle's shop has a lot of good things, that could be a problem. I have happened to play the only seed on these settings where you had to do bamboo cutting to money grind, and it is one of the worst things you can do in Skyward Sword. Going out of your way for things that don't ping very early in a seed sometimes can be really useful. Mind you, it could just end up not being worth it here, but early money in Season 3 is a kind of... it's tricky. That is also a lot of gratitude crystals, really early.
Yeah, probably means that we'll see Betrow quite early on in the season.
Yeah. The thing you don't want if you're these runners is to get another 5 here.
Yeah.
Right now. Like, they're both going to grab this crystal here and Link's... well, maybe Jim won't, but you're here, you're doing this for the call and check. You may just want to grab it, because there's not a great time to go get it otherwise. Like, even as someone that likes loose crystals, I get fearful when you get this many crystals this early.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sledge points out in the chat, the Amber Tablet with barely anything, Beetle with barely any money. Both are pretty bad. Like, you're kind of hoping for a gold rupee somewhere. And, like, the linear start is tricky because depending on the items, there could be a lot you can do. But it also could just lock you in Gorge, where you can't get out without a bomb bag.
That's the first try for Speeds.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not really what you wanted from Potion Lady right now.
No.
Yeah, and I think what Yal is going to do here is he's going to check Beetle's shop. In part to progress the Beatrice conversations. He's safe scumming before he realized he can't buy anything. He really wanted to save something, but with 66 rupees, not a lot of that you can do. And in other mildly terrifying news, that 300 being crystals does mean Betrow 30 is in logic.
That could be really bad if that has the progression item.
Yeah. Now, the last thing the runners are going to do is go to Bamboo Island to grind money for gratitude crystals. Also, it is probably faster to just do loose crystals out of logic than to go to Bamboo Island at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
That was Din's power. So that is the Elden Trial. We don't really know right now, though, if it's going to have anything useful or not. Well, so Sledge, 10 loose crystals is actually out of logic. 10 loose crystals is possible out of logic without a beetle. It's just really awful. You do not want to do it. So I've turned Echo as far up as I can turn him on our end, unfortunately. I can turn myself down and the game audio down, but that may just mean you have to turn up. Skippers has a couple pings. Interesting, Yal is not going to go check Pirate Stronghold, which has a few things that he can do. And yeah, Gymnast now is like, I need some money. I'm going to get some chests that don't have anything. And is rewarded with the whole 5 crystals. The other thing is, Gymnast, I think, saw those crystals and is like, I'm going to get these 2 loose crystals here that I might have to get without a beetle.
Yeah, yes.
That's 100% what he's doing here. But we may also see him go back to Elden and actually grab some of those unpinging checks. Like, there were a couple things that didn't douse in that first room in Elden Volcano, and it would not be the worst idea if you're Jim and you need money to have just gotten that chest in the first room. Yeah, I mean, people tend to do that with that Sansi spawn. It's just kind of a thing people will do. I just, like, Yell doesn't want to have to go do that stuff.
No.
Yeah. I think the Silver Rupee was the Robot and Briggs reward, which is the worst check in Sandship by far. Yeah, and Gymnast is thinking about loose crystals here.
That's pretty fair, to be honest. There's not a lot left to do.
This is a really risky play.
Yes.
But hang on. There are not 10 loose crystals you can get right now on Skyloft. To get to 10 to... Yeah. So Gymnast is going to get to 29 crystals, not 30. Because to get to 30, he would actually have to get one of the crystals here. And Yal is thinking the exact same thing. Oh, he got 5 on Pero. Okay. Did he? I don't know if he did. That's 31. So yes, he did. Okay. Yeah, Yal will do Pero, but he is going for the 2 lumpy pumpkin crystals because in his shoes, if you need 10 loose, you have to get those. But yeah, I mean, hey, look, I am the resident loose crystal enjoyer of the SSR community. I do appreciate this. Yal, though, is going to be kicking himself that he didn't do Oriel in his first Sky route. There's kind of no way to sugarcoat that like Yal skipping or oh my god. Wow. Okay.
That's really useful with the Nehru already open.
Yeah, it actually doesn't do a lot in Lanayru right now.
No, we mostly need Casey.
Yeah. Because the claw shots won't let you actually climb all the way in skippers unless you want to do the RBM. But I think without the chest and check hint, you don't want to do the P-hat RBM right now.
No, you would not.
Like, if you had that hinted, the P-hat RBM might make some sense. Although, no, without a whip or bomb bag or hook beetle, you actually can't climb all the way up. You need that to get past the first bomble wall. But yeah, we're seeing some bad stuff. We're gonna see Beatrice. That is Fledge's Crystal's dead. But yeah, Jim is thinking about the 10 loose crystals to check back 40 here. Which is maybe not the worst play. Because 40 is in logic. You can't really do a lot in Eldin. And again, like, Lanayru with the items you have, you're not going to have a ton either.
No, so I think it's a pretty fair play because it allows him with Beatrice Closet, so
yeah,
catch you a few checks.
And Jim is also going to go now. Probably will do some save scumming to check some Beetle shop. Because with this, he can check the 300 items. If they don't have anything, then he can buy the crystals on the 300 and check what's on the 600 item. But yeah, this is very early 10 loose crystals. Jim having to do it kind of the slow way. Yeah, and technically 45 is in logic too. There could be a world where actually Petro 50 is in logic this early. If one of the 100 items in Beetle's shop is gratitude crystals.
That'd be pretty insane if you have Petro 50 sub 30 in logic.
Yeah, 50 is the maximum in these settings. I will have to ask about the we'll have to ask them what they thought about this at the beginning of the seed. The irony, of course, is like it's possible that their bomb bag or their mitts are just in pirate. Oh, nope. Never mind. So, yeah, money was super important this seed.
Yeah.
In addition to the gratitude crystals actually weren't that important. It was the money. Yeah, I mean those mitts now open up the entire rest of Elden Volcano except the 2 rupees on top of Magma Turf. Yeah, I'm curious about when we're going to see Pirate Stronghold.
Maybe not even, but only not until we have a beetle. So for the
yeah, I mean, certainly not from. I mean, from both of them, I think, because now that Gal has money, he's going to get those minutes.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a first sword on the gymnast side.
Yeah. The nice thing about claw shots is claw shots really open up the seed. You kind of, although not really this seed because they're stuck in Sansi without the cave's key. Yuck.
Yeah.
Ugh, this is a little gross. Yeah, this is, I mean, not the worst seed I've seen on season 3, but well, yeah. Thankfully we are not playing with Alan anymore, like in season 2. They did check the Academy bell. It was nothing. It was just a rupee of some kind.
Yeah, 5 rupees.
Yeah. The worst seed of season 3 so far was there was a unrestreamed seed that had mandatory Bamboo Island, which is a thing that can be possible in these settings, is Bamboo Island to get a lot of items on Beetle Shop. Oh, that is our Triforce that I think we already got in Central Skyloft. Our totally free Triforce.
Always fun getting the Triforce hint from one who found very early in the seeds.
Yeah, the Triforce hint, sometimes useful, sometimes not. We do see Jim routing in the Goddess Bloom. He is thinking about money, too. Which I think, given where you are in the seed at this point, you have to think about money. It's one of the more interesting questions, I think, that you have to ask yourself in these seeds is, how much do I go out of my way for money right at the beginning? I think a lot of people take the approach of, if it's not pinging, I'm not going to get it. I'm out of the tournament, so my take is probably wrong, but I usually went for things out of the way.
Yeah, me too, I did that as well.
Mostly because I played that seed with mandatory Bamboo Island. That is Skirvo dead too. So pretty Sandchip is gonna be really nice to these runners. Sandchip can be really brutal. There was a race with Baron Sandchip where you still had to clear the entire dungeon. Yeah, I mean, I suspect we're gonna see Jim do Malara with Bat 40 next time he goes to the Skyloft.
Yeah.
We still have not seen what is on the 600 item in Beetle's shop, which at this point is in Logic. Although, at least now with the mitts, if they need to rupee grind, they can go do the Thrill Digger minigame.
That makes it a whole lot Better, but still not great.
It is a better way to grind money. It is still a complete random number generator fest.
Yeah, exactly.
And we will see what's on bat 40 here. Junk. Yes, the Thrill Digger solver is allowed. The only reason Thrill Digger is in Logic is because there is a solver to assist you with it. If that did not exist, Thrill Digger would not be considered in Logic. Because if you did not have a solver to help, and even with the solver, you can get a bomb on your first hit, but it is more consistent. But Jim kind of finally getting some money here.
Yeah, makes it looks like it's probably not have any to be grinding in this seed.
The only reason at this, well, that Din's power is in Logic right now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put a pin in that. That the Elden Trial is in Logic right now.
Yeah, it is. But you do always have the RBM if you can't find one.
That is valid. I don't know how hard this trial RBM is. But there's enough to do before you have to worry about that. I think also Gymnast at this point is going to think very hard about save scumming the 300 and 600 item, the 300 item Beetle shop for now. So that was Magomit on Oriel, which puts a pretty significant no, not a lot of book base in Logic, but a decent amount. But we're gonna get our first look at Pirate Stronghold here. Yal did skip this when he went down. Yeah, they did both go for loose crystals. They both Gymnast did 10 loose. Yal did not do 10 loose. Turned out that, well, actually that extra wallet on 30 still could be required, but the Patro item that was useful was actually the claw shots on 5. But as the resident loose crystal enjoyer, I think it was a good choice going for crystals when they did, because there wasn't a whole lot left. Yes, Cube David says, imagine a beetle and pirate. I mean, the other thing that would be for Yal rough is cave ski here. Because Cave's Key basically opens up a ton of Lineru, although without a bomb bag or a hook beetle, Lineru is still not great. Yeah, there's the extra wallet on bat 30, which did require 5 loose crystals, just not 10. It's just a sword. So Jim is probably thinking about Boko base here. The problem right now is I'm not good at seeing what doused in Boko base, but I don't know. I think he can get one of the chests that doused. I don't know if he can get both. I'm not 100% sure. I'm bad at seeing where things douse here.
Yeah, I'm not great at it either. I cannot see this one.
I think it's 2 of the lower ones, but I don't know. Okay, so it is both. Well, and he has Bellows, so you could get all 3 of these lower chests.
Yeah.
If you're Gymnast here, you are really hoping you get your Bomb Bag or your Hook Beetle, so you can just full clear Boko base. Jim is going to know how to do the Whip Skip. Like, Bomb Bag is really what you're looking for here. I mean, that's not bad. Cave's Key is a solid item. It does open up the entire rest of Lineru, although, as we said, and yes, Didier Gaming, they are playing on the same seed. But yeah, this has been one of the, I would say, one of the worst starts to a seed that I've seen in a while. The good news is you're not really going to look at coming back to Boko base for quite some time. But this is not a seed most people would want to play.
No. And it's so short there.
Oh. What is the commit for early Thunderhead in Elden Volcano? I don't know if it's been done, but we see. What is the Bumble Rock before one of the dig spots? Is Yal? Hang on. What is Yal doing here?
I have no clue.
Is this Elden Trial RBW?
I've never done it myself, so.
Like, I genuinely don't know what he's doing right now. So he's in Back in Time right now. So he can look at this item, but cannot collect it. It's nothing. But he is technically not in his main game file. Like, was that early Thunderhead? I guess it was.
Apparently so.
Yeah, so he was not in bit, but he was technically in the bit version of Skyloft. So like if you save in bit, you can technically load onto the Back in Time version. But yeah, this is early Thunderhead from Skyloft. That is, Skyview is path to Girahim 1. What in the world? Like, is that our first logical beetle in Skyview that locks every other beetle? Because it's not scale, but beetle locks the scale.
Yeah.
Shield is currently not required for any checks, but also the runners start with the Hylian shield. I can't tell what that item is down there. Yeah, we're not 100% sure, but we're like decently sure that scale is beetle locked above Magma Turf.
Ooh, and the bombs.
Yeah. Not well. Actually, no. That is super useful for Jim as he's about to go do the rest of Linearu. Because now there's only 2 things he can't get. Bombs in Skyward Sword do not hard lock as much as they do in other games. But they're still pretty useful.
And like, final sword already?
Yep. This has the makings of a seed where it is like an hour and a half in before we get the first beetle, and that beetle is 100% in Skyview.
Yeah.
And like 2 or 3 other beetles are in Skyview, and 1 is in Ancient Cistern.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy seed so far.
Yeah. I like don't know what else to say besides this is a weird seed. And I like weird logic, but it's an odd one. Two items here in the mine, so with this, Jim is just going to clear it, I think, forwards.
I assume so.
Yeah, I mean, especially with claw shots, there's not much of an advantage to not doing it this way. It's the last few chests in here, I believe. Wisely, doing the extra douse takes a second or 2. Mispinging something, on the other hand, can be a game costing error.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty normal disc to take. That's pretty fair if you don't take the disc.
Yeah. Of course, now money is not really much of a problem. Well, I shouldn't say that. The 600 could also be something useful. But I kind of expect the next time Jim goes to Skyloft, he will save Scum the 600 item to see if it hints anything. Something he'll do something to save Scum his money.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is Yalt did not get anything from that early Thunderhead.
No.
Yes. In Randomizer, Eldin is fairly check dense. I mean the Eldin Volcano and Linearu Desert are the 2 regions with the most checks. Eldin tends to be a lot more efficient to get because the item requirements are pretty similar and are pretty early on in the game. There's a reason in the Remlets tournament where they started with all 3 regions open. Elden Volcano was basically the start in 90% of the seeds.
Yeah, that's really fair.
But it's really clean break slide from Jam.
Oh, and that's the last tablet.
Yeah, and so this is me talking. I would very strongly consider like not even doing Linear Desert and just booking it over to Farron right now. With he doesn't have the Skyview path yet. Never mind. Yal might do that. Jim does not have the Skyview path G1. Which at this point has to be a beetle. Like there's nothing else it could be. But it's a beetle or a song locking a beetle. There's nothing else it could be. Slingshot, you don't like that. Looks like the secret passageway. But yeah, this is I don't know. It's a weird seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I will be really curious to see if Yal does anything in Desert or just kind of leaves. Like, it probably does make more sense for him to just do the full clear of Desert.
It will both be fair play, good plays, so
yeah,
we'll see what he's gonna do.
But like an aggressive player might consider doing something else. Like the going to Farron is a really aggressive play here.
Yes.
With that hand. Yeah, it looked like it was a junk item because we know where the tablet was, and so it looked like it was a treasure or a rupee, but it could have also been like Colin's letter down there.
He didn't grab it, so
no, I mean there's no way to grab it.
Oh no, that's true. Yeah.
You can't. If you fall off, you won't grab it.
Yeah, I forgot about it. The fact that we didn't have beetle yet.
Yeah, I think is gonna try and reverse mine. Which he will get the tablet. He will not be able to get the other item there. I think he thinks it's the last 2 checks, not the second chest. The LMF cutscene is in Rando because it has to be. That cutscene can't be removed to raise LMF. That's my understanding. not something you want. We are 48 minutes in. We have the Master Sword and 2 Triforces and 0 Beetles.
Yeah, very interesting item combinations.
Yeah. I do suspect we're going to see Ballad of the Goddess pretty soon.
Probably.
Only because the ballad can't be locked behind, or the beetle cannot lock Ballad of the Goddess. Like whatever the path item is in Skyview. And they have access to Skyview. So I feel like we're going to get Ballad pretty soon. But that could be off base. This is me reading hint placement logic very carefully. I think that spiral charge is junk because I don't think anything in the sky pinged.
No, nothing pinged. So that's useless.
But yeah, I mean that early Thunderhead really didn't do much for Yal. What's this? Oh, the sword was in Pirate Stronghold that Yal has been not going to, which is not going to hurt him. But I would think about doing all of Skipper's Retreat here. With 2 things dousing, if you're Jim, you might think about it. That looks like nothing Hook Beetle locked here in Fire Node. Which, like, kind of from what we know of the seed, our beetles are all really late in logic somehow.
It's nice to see that you don't have to come back here. So.
Oh, yeah. Baby Rattle, which you don't love. Although, you are going to be able to clear a lot in, you're going to be able to full clear Skyloft Village. You may pick up the 50 crystals, but Boko Base with this Warp to Start makes sense, because you're hoping you never have to come back to Eldin again, with Volcano Summit dead. I do wonder... So, 9 times out of 10, this would not happen. But you end Bokoblin Base near Volcano Summit. Now, Volcano Summit was hinted bearing. But given where we are in this seed and how little guidance you have, and the fact that you are really close to go mode, I could see, Jim considering going and doing one or both of the Volcano Summit hints. I don't think it's likely. But
I don't know what I would do.
I think it's something that he's thinking about.
Yes, the cursed metal is in the pool.
Yeah. It will not douse, so the only way they're going to get the cursed metal is if it is on a heart container, since those always appear as the vanilla heart container objects, or if it's something that's not a chest. Yeah, like I would say 99% of seeds, you are not going to go out of the way to a barren volcano summit for the hints in Volcano Summit. That was the baby rattle, was it not?
Yes, baby rattle is, I think, what was there.
What was in the other chest? I don't remember. Oh, it was a bottle. It was a bottle. In Fire Note, it was a bottle and the baby rattle, I believe. Either way, basically, with the exception of that sword, Jim and Yal are going to be at basically the exact same items once they finish this.
Yeah.
Jim is going to be really happy about that money. And yes, he is going for these hint stones. Which I think 54 minutes into the seed, no beetle. In Jim's case, he hasn't seen a single path hint. Like, he is missing information. And I think if you're Jim at this point, information is helpful when you are a Triforce, a C-Chart, a beetle, and a whip from Go mode.
Oh yeah, for sure. He wants information, I think. Like, it's useful. Oh.
Upper Skyloft to Coloctos. What could that be? Could that have been Amber Tablet?
Yeah, most likely, I think.
I don't think anything in Lineru locked him here. I think that's the only thing that's been useful. So that's kind of a junk hint, unfortunately. Yal is trying to do reverse mines here. It's a precise trick. You essentially drop the bomb in the minecart and nope. And Betrot's House to Tenalis. Now that is going to be the Bat 50 item.
Well, we did get claw shots on.
It can't be. Because claw shots... Oh, no, claw shots don't lock that. Oh, you're right. That could just be the claw shots. So those path hints could be useful. But Ghost and Pipit's crystals could have our whip for Coloctos still. That's the one thing in Upper Skyloft we haven't seen. But Jim is definitely going to go check Bat 50 at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it also, like, Colin's letter could just be here on Bat 50 for the whip for both Coloctos and Tenalis. They started with Harp. Harp was our random starting item. But yeah, I mean, with this, Jim cannot buy out everything, but I think he's just going to buy the 300 and the 800 and not worry about save scumming. He probably has enough treasures, but I think he's going to check what's on the 600 before he does this.
Yeah, that's pretty smart.
Oh, Yal is not going to be happy about this, because I don't think without Hook Beetle that there is a way to break in to the front of mines this way.
No, I don't think so.
And Elden Trial has nothing.
Okay. And 600 is crystals as well.
Yeah. So wallets are also... No, because there was a wallet on 800. Yeah. So Jim did do mines. I can't remember what the item was in mines that Jim got that Yal did not.
I think it was an extra wallet.
Yes, it was. Yeah. That, because Yal is down 2 wallets compared to Jim right now, I believe. Again, it's not necessarily going to hurt Yal. Oh, I think Jim thought he had the scale there. But kind of the nice thing for Jim is basically all he might have to go to do here in Skyloft is maybe the trial at some point, and then Ghost and Pipit's crystals.
Yes.
Charge. You are not going to want to go do Sandship yet. No, I think you are greeding hard. Like, you're going to greed really hard for the, what can I call it? The whip. Words are hard right now. But yeah, I'm very curious if our whip is on bat 50. I'm also really okay. Well, we are going to see Ghost and Pipit's crystals too. And Yal is also going and getting these hints. So they're both kind of thinking the same thing here, which is we are really far into the seed with not a lot of information. And yes, it's a little over 1 hour. Please give our runners the follow, Gymnast and YourAverageLink. Oh, wow. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to stop the shoutouts and say that is our whip on Betro 50. So that is our path item to Tennis.
Yeah.
Because claw shots are... It is highly unlikely that claw shots are the path item. Could be, but I'm skeptical. Anyway, as I was saying that, thank you to both of our trackers as well, Vibrant Viola and Featherblade. And thank you to my co-commentator, Echo.
Yeah, and thank you to Golden Devil for commentating with me and the streaming.
Prez makes the restreaming really easy. We don't talk about that, but yeah, Jim now, I wonder if he's going to also just clear all of Skipper's Retreat first. He might do it after Sandship, but I think we're in a seed where our first beetle is in Skyview, and all the rest of our beetles are locked behind it, and potentially the only reason we need a beetle is to get the to get that scale. We could have something weird like technically scale key locks you out of Skyview. But this is kind of the first big divergence we're seeing with Yal going to Lineru. Not Lineru. Yal going to Skyview. So I'm going to be really curious to figure out what this path is for. So you can logically be key locked out of Skyview. Logically, you could need the scale to get the dig spot. And we know the scale is beetle locked. So the beetle path could actually be for what is... Like, the beetle could just be path for this check right here. Yeah. So it is going to be a path beetle, but the game is going to have expected you to double dip the dungeon to go get your scale.
Yeah, well, luckily you can do it without the scale.
Yes. Yeah, the reason the scale is logically required is soft lock prevention. So yeah, we're gonna get a beetle here at some point. There's our Ballad of the Goddess. But I think, yeah. So there were 2 keys in the front room. So this is almost certainly our beetle right here, because everything else in the dungeon is going to be logically locked behind it. Or it's going to be a song, which has our first logical beetle, which would be funny.
That'd be cool.
What? Oh! The whip is logical access for the chest behind bars. That's going to be our first beetle. Yal is going to have to do the slingshot trick for this. But this is going to be... Oh my...
It's a song.
My god!
That's not really nice.
Jim, the reason Jim is going to be ahead is because Gymnast... So, Gymnast got the whip, which is going to give him a big advantage here. Who rolled this seed? Randobot. It is a random number generator. Yeah, I mean, This is going to be a very quick layout of Sandship as well, because Skirvo has nothing and the Brig has nothing. So you're going to be able to skip a decent amount. Now, Sandship is not going to have anything useful or important, but yeah, I mean, Yal is just... This slingshot trick is really hard. It's pretty precise. Not practiced a lot, because so rarely do you have to do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gymnast already is save scumming. Not save scumming. He's gonna death warp out back to the top from here. The big thing is if there's a Triforce here, Gymnast is very close to go mode. Like, the last Triforce is going to kind of loom large. There do have to be 2 small keys in this room. And then there's just the question of what's in the boss. All right. So, what song is it that has our first logical beetle? It is Nehru's Wisdom. Progressive beetle required. That is brutal. I don't really know what else to say besides, like, brutal logic.
Yeah, logic would have been a triple dip in Skyview.
No, I think it still would have been a double dip.
Well, with the small key,
once you'll get the beetle, and the beetle will get you the scale, which is outside of the dungeon. Yeah. Skyview, thankfully, not the worst dungeon to double dip, but still rough. I don't know. It's a rough one. I don't really know what else to say. Like, it's been a rough seed, but also, like, they have a lot of go mode items, and so yeah, that is the other thing, obviously. Oh, poor Jim there. Clipping. This is a very narrow spot that you can kind of clip out between the boat and the wall. If you do it up top, it's a potential soft lock. But yeah, I do think, because Jim, he's not going to have to waste time on the slingshot trick. He has the whip already. Like, I think he is ahead of Yal. I don't know by how much. And where the third Triforce is going to loom pretty large.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty decisive where the final Triforce is.
But I think, I mean, we're seeing Jim is basically going to have a full dungeon cleared before Yal does. And is going to get Nehru's Wisdom a lot faster because of the whip. You know, Yal is assuming, wrongly, that it is claw shots. He actually, on his hint tracking, has Betrothed Tantalus and has a note, hint not claw locked. Now, he's going to go check it later, but Jim deciding to go check that when he did proved really advantageous. Like, the crazy thing about this, too, is because of the dungeons, this could actually still be a relatively quick seed, despite the really ugly logic. Because Skyview is pretty quick, and if Cistern is go-modable, which it could be, I mean, this could be like an hour 45 type seed for Jim.
It could definitely be, yeah.
Meanwhile, Yal is trying to figure out exactly where in the trial his beetle is. Oh, don't get caught, Yal. Oof. Yeah. It's when you only have one item, you tend to risk it not being the trial reward. Although the way this seed is going, the trial reward is going to be the beetle, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why Yal did not just grab that tier there. He's playing more dangerously than I maybe would have here. Yeah, especially considering he died once already. And that tier is literally right on your path. He's nope. What is it that Jim is doing to Tennos with the Gust Bellows? So, in the US 1.0 version, and only the US 1.0 version, the Gust Bellows damage Tennos' eye. We don't really know why in the code. But yes, it is the fastest way to damage Tennos' eye. It was discovered by Pac-Man Power Ghost and OFC 2000 Alex, who yeah, it's weird. It does not work in the Japanese version, which is used for vanilla speedrunning. It does not work in the HD version either.
Yeah, it's very weird why and how it works.
Yeah, and we don't really know why. It's something that they've been trying to figure out from the like decompilation project. But yeah, we just don't know the answer. Unfortunately, Jim missing the snipe here. The snipe here on the final hit of Tennis is pretty precise, and if you don't basically pull out your B-Wheel right away, it's pretty easy to miss it. I mean, it's seconds. It's not huge time save. It just does 5 hits faster than you can kind of do 5 sword slashes. And I think with this, Yal has figured out that so that beetle is in fact on the final reward of the trial.
Very fitting for the seed.
Yeah. It's like yeah. It's an ugly seed. But Jim is going to get this hint very soon. And yeah, I'm not surprised that Jim is here checking Skipper's Retreat. Again, like, if his Triforce is here, Jim is almost in go mode. Yeah. Which is wild to think about. But there were 2 things that doused here, so this makes a lot of sense. He'll probably warp to start out of it. The heart container was a junk item of some kind. He did get it. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say about this seed. Besides that it's just one of the more hideous ones I've seen in a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's actually fast dungeons, especially with the sandship layout. Sandship is a lot nicer than it could have been. Getting to skip Skirvo and the Brig is really nice. It's just like, it's going to be an hour, 20 minutes in before we get the first beetle.
Yeah, that's... You don't see that every seed.
Oh. I guess Skydive Chest was the other one that pinged. So, useless wallet. Yal will probably work to start out of here to get the scale. That we have known about the scale for an hour and 20 minutes. It'll probably be about hour 30, hour 25 to hour 30 when Jim gets the beetle. Because he is booking it over to Farron. He will get into Skyview, see the Linear trial, and laugh. Gonna go check Thunderhead first. Oh, that's right. Jim does not have the Skyview to G1 hint yet. I did forget about that. Yeah, it's a weird seed. I don't know what else to say besides that it's a weird seed. I hope Yal does. I forget, was it Birdie or Malara that had the C chart?
I don't remember it.
It was one of the Skyloft Village checks. Okay, it was Birdie. Yeah. Did we see Jim do Pipit's crystals?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, with the C chart, it didn't make sense. Other than just like it's the last thing you can do in Skyloft. But it's pretty easy to get back to Skyloft whenever you want. I don't know. Not a whole lot more to say right now.
No, they're just checking checks. The other one's already done. So.
Yeah, we have a lot of Farron that we haven't seen yet. We have all of Ancient Cistern we haven't seen yet. But that's most of what's left in the seed at this point. And it's probably going to be a while before we see any of that, because there's no reason for Jim to do the rest of Farron. I don't think, once he gets Nehru's Wisdom. Like, I think if you're in Jim's shoes, your spawn is here in Deep Woods. You are probably just gonna book it to the trial.
I'd assume so.
The one thing, it is theoretic. I guess it's actually not. No. I don't think it's possible for the other 3 beetles to be unrequired. Maybe it is, though. It's possible that, like, there's a beetle on one of the chests in Lake Floria that's unrequired, and that's why Lake Floria is barren. I'm not 100% sure on that with the logic, but I think there's a chance, a small one. Because I don't think anything Hook Beetle locked has been required. Although I guess I'm like overthinking the logic here. I don't know for sure. But. We're finally going to see the rest of Skyview. That's true. We have not seen the Pirate Stronghold. Hook Beetle. The reason that Hook Beetle is like optional. There are things that are either Hook Beetle or Bomb Bag. And so technically, if Bomb Bag did not lock all of the beetles, there's like normally a beetle cannot be hinted unrequired. Other than if you have your 4th beetle locked behind the quick beetle checks. That would probably be not required. The hint logic for beetles is kind of wonky and confusing. And unfortunately, we will never see the spoiler log for this seed. It would be very curious if we could, but the Season 3 settings have encryption. Even though there are ways to kind of back out a spoiler log on that the developers know, that's not possible on a tournament build. So where is the boss key? Because none of the chests had anything. So the boss key, I think, is here. Or in... It's in one of these, because I think 3 Eyes is dead. I think the 2 chests by the boss key door were dead. Or maybe 3 Eyes had something? Yeah, 3 Eyes.
I think so, yeah.
Alright, so that is also a hard beetle lock to beat the dungeon. Jim, I think, is thinking about bit warping here, but he's gonna get this hint and be not thrilled about it. Whipping this item is harder than you think, I'll just say.
Yeah.
And, yep.
He is just walking out, yeah.
Yeah. You kind of have to. Yeah, I don't know. Ugly seed. I think my hour 45 predictions were pretty generous. It could sub 2.
Yeah, it could still.
But yeah, I mean, I think the last Triforce piece is still looming kind of large here. Yal is not going to save a ton of time in Sandship, though. Like, the only time Yal could save in Sandship is if he's in go mode, he's going to Tentaclus skip. So there is, but he also, oh yeah, Nindy, this is the first logical beetle is on the linear trial reward. So, gonna back up about an hour ago. Yal does early Thunderhead. The hint in Thunderhead is Skyview to Girahim 1. We knew at that point where the scale was, and we had mid, both mids. So we were thinking, oh, it's just going to be the first beetle. Then we see Nehru's Wisdom. And it's on the final trial reward, not on one of the Dusk Relics. No, it's... The logic has been really bad this seed.
Yeah.
2 of our path hints were in Volcano Summit, which was Baron. Both runners went for it. Money was pretty tight, although not super useful, but it was a little scary. They had so many crystals early that both runners did 10 loose. Although the only useful item, the only required item was Claw Shots on Bat 5. But they had 25 so early that they did crystals. Yeah, and I think Jim is going to end up saving time on Yal because he is going a little out of his way to grab some of these tiers as he explores.
Yeah, that makes it, in this case, well, a bit faster.
Yeah, it's always, I would say, a really difficult routing choice of do you get the tiers on the way. I think in Elden and Linearu Trial, oh yeah, Whip was on 50, right. That too. Anyway, do you get the tiers on the way when you're hoping that an item is on the Dusk Relic is a really tricky thing. Gymnast is about 2 minutes away from getting the beetle, because the beetle is here in this trial. He does have to complete the full trial and get the trial reward. Good news is he got Nehru's Wisdom, and Nehru's Wisdom told him that there's a beetle here, and it's required. Also, the path hint would have told him that, but... Yeah, it's, I don't know what else to say besides, like, gross seed. It's my kind of seed. I would have enjoyed it, but I probably wouldn't feel good racing it. I would feel good playing it. More importantly, though, there is our friend Tim the Tumbleweed.
That's really useful.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Randomizer is the logic is agnostic to your pain and suffering. It is a random number generator that seeds everything and randomly assigns how things get placed. I do wonder if Yal is going to do Pirate Stronghold before Sandship to try and go mode it. Because again, like, the way this race could be really competitive is if Yal is able to Tentaclus skip and kind of earn back some time. Like I said, the third Triforce piece is the thing that is, like, looming large right now.
Yeah, I feel like it would be smart to do Pirate Stronghold first, but I don't know.
I think Yal has been thinking about doing the no, the scale. We've known about the scale since 2 minutes into the seed because it is above the Magma Turf entrance. It was peaked really early on, so Jim is going to work to start here. Featherblade, put it on Kiwi's. Oh, Featherblade, who hurt you?
That would make the seed complete, I think.
It would just be a, like, chef's kiss moment if that's how the seed ends. There is a second beetle, which he is going to grab that, although I think we know Hook Beetle doesn't lock anything. Because the only things that are hard locked behind Hook Beetle were Fire Node, which was Baron. I mean, Kiwi Elder is going to be the last location that they do. 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I can't see any way either runner does Kiwi Elders.
No, definitely
Reward
not in this.
unhinted. Although, I'm trying to count. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 of the sometimes hints. Was that another beetle behind Lower Bombable? No, that could not have been a beetle. 100% could not be a beetle. Because if that were the beetle, it would be... If that were the beetle, then the beetle in the trial would not have been required. Yeah. But no, it couldn't be the beetle, because if it was, then the beetle in the linear trial would not have locked all of our other beetles and would have been possibly required instead of required. We 100% know that that's not a beetle. But yes, Pirate Stronghold, while it is logically quick beetle locked, it is not actually quick beetle locked. You have to stand in the right spot to avoid the vertical kill plane. That said, if you pick up a quick beetle, you're not complaining. But yeah, our beetles are either beetle locked or scale locked in some capacity.
Oh, that is another sword for Jess. Oh no, for y'all.
I mean, that's good for him.
Yeah.
Jim is also going to be pretty happy. So the deciding factor here, Alka, is going to be where the Triforce is. Because potentially Yal is going to be able to Tentalis skip and save a little bit of time here. I would say Jim is ahead. But we don't really know. And yeah, it's a I don't know. The final Triforce piece is just the critical item here.
Yeah, it could be in a lot of places, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, like... So, Jim does not have a tracker up, but Yal at this point is at 38 locations accessible, 50 remaining. Now, some of those are in Sandship, which we know are dead. Some of them are in Sandsea, which we know are dead. But there's still probably about 15 locations that could have a Triforce or a Song, and...
Oh!
Okay. Well, that does put Yal in go mode. So now the race is on. I still think Jim is ahead. But this is going to be a close one. Yeah, Yal has C-Chart and Whip. So yeah, he is definitely in go mode. I do think Jim is still ahead. Sandship Boss Key is in the treasure room. But Brig was hinted dead, Skirvo was hinted dead. So the time save is just Jim checked the boss key room and did Tentalis. I don't think Tentalis skip is going to save enough time. Necessarily.
No, I don't think it will.
Like, I think Jim is still probably ahead. It's just a little closer than it looks. It's just Cistern is really fast. The other thing for Jim, too, that's going to help a little bit is he will get TMS, I think. Because it's...
Yeah, he should.
Right on the way.
Unless he skips getting it.
The Triforce symbols next to the dungeons indicate that they are required. I don't think the trackers did them, but there's an X symbol that shows that they are unrequired. Basically, in Skyward Sword, we have what's called race mode, where unrequired dungeons are barren. It's empty unrequired dungeons. It's called race mode in Wind Waker. So unlike Ocarina of Time, for example, if you watch a lot of that, unrequired dungeons in Ocarina of Time can have useful items. Very clean G1 fight with Master Sword, which admittedly makes it really easy. But also, he didn't get kind of RNG'd. The other thing is Master Sword. Koloktos, also pretty quick. You don't have to do the bomb trick to one-cycle it. We saw Yal. You basically just get 2 spin attacks, and you will get phase 1. The third Triforce is one of the chests in Ancient Cistern. So, basically, this is... Jim is going... My guess is Jim is going to check everything in Farron besides Kikwi Elders. before he goes into Cistern. So it's Jim doing that versus Yal doing a sand chip with a Tentacless skip. Uh-oh. Jim didn't get Tim. Like,
that's very unfortunate.
Yeah. He's not losing the race, but Yal is the winner in our hearts for picking up Tim.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so sorry, Tim, our name for it's the Tumbleweed of Infinite Merit. Shorter Tim. There is one Tumbleweed in the item pool. Similar to if you've watched Wind Waker, there is Trevor, which is the orange rupee. I think it's or the rainbow rupee. I forget which color.
I believe it's rainbow rupee.
Yeah, or in Ocarina of Time, if it's not Master Quest. We have a lot of green rupees in the item pool, so we do not have Greg. Greg in Ocarina of Time. If you're not Master Quest or RSL, there's only one, which is why Greg is a meme in Ocarina. But this is going to be really close. I still think Jim is ahead because I think he's going to get to Cistern pretty quickly, and Cistern is faster than Sandchip. Especially because he's a little closer. I don't think he can mass skip here. I'm pretty sure Yal cannot mass skip because I think there was something on. Yeah. I'm like fairly sure that there's something on the mast, so Yal is not going to be able to mass skip. Yeah, that is the mast. That's going to add time to Yal as well. He could take the risk, but it's when you're in go mode, it's a big risk to take. So, like, I do think Jim is ahead because Cistern, like, just clearing Cistern to where he gets the Triforce. Yal is probably not going to be in Treasure Room before that. And then, even with Tentacless skip, Sandchip is a lower dungeon. So, this feels pretty solidly like Jim's race.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just the region, it's that Cistern is a much faster dungeon than Sandchip. The layout of Sandchip, even with a go mode, is slow because unfortunately this is not the boss key here. The boss key is in the treasure room. And like even with a Tentacless skip only Tentacless skip is not going to save him enough time. Like it is a decent time save, but it's just I don't think it's enough, barring like a kind of meltdown. And yeah, well, wait, was the sword? No, the sword is. No, yeah, Jim is grabbing the sword here.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. The sword will make the first kind of part of the horde fight faster.
And easier.
Yes, and easier. But yeah, I mean, Jim is gonna hit go mode before Yal even touches the treasure room. Like this is a pretty solid Jim lead. It's probably gonna be somewhere in the like 2 hours to 2:05.
Yeah, probably.
Because Coloctos is fast, but not quite that fast. But yeah, it is a solid lead, but it would probably take a meltdown from Jim.
Yeah.
How is Tentalis skip a thing? So there's a reverse bit magic trick you can do that allows you to skip the boss fight while still striking the crest, which is permissible. The back in time trick is permissible under our rules, because technically dungeon completion in the rando is only striking the crest, is not defeating the boss. But it soft locks you out of an item, or hard locks you out of an item. And so it is a skip that you will only see when someone is in go mode. Because if you don't do it, you delete the heart container, basically. Which is too big of a risk to take. There are people that have done it, and their seeds have been unbeatable.
Yeah, that's just not what you want, so it's not worth it in that case.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's a kind of tricky thing to do. Yeah, Jim is obviously in go mode. Just has to go beat Coloctos and then do the end game. Penalist skip saves about a minute or so. Like it is time save. It is not a necessary trick to learn. But yeah, I mean, this, like, I'm trying to think about what the big moment was, and like, was it just going to bat 50 and Skyloft Village? I kind of think that was the thing that won it for Jim here.
Yeah.
Is he went and did that, whereas Yal went to Farron, and the whip and the C chart just saved him some time.
Yeah, I think y'all went to Farron because he had a hint from early Thunderhead, so...
Yes. But then he wasted... I mean, he just spent a bunch of time trying to get the slingshot trick. Like, he lost probably, I don't know, a minute and a half just on the slingshot trick. It was pretty slow. I don't think it's the difference in the seed entirely, but it was a difference. And again, like that slingshot trick is just something that's not used very often anymore. Like, I think it may be something that they use. No, they don't even use it in a speedrun. Because the only speedrun where you need to get that would be 100% where you need the beetle. You might do the slingshot trick anyway because it's faster, but it's not common. Yeah, so Jim probably about, I don't know, 6-7 minutes off from finishing. Like the whole end game will probably take him about 5 minutes, and he's a minute or two from getting there. So yeah, and so what Yal is doing is, so this is reverse bit magic. He is going to basically set a flag on this back in time file, which is the text box memory for going for the Metro 50 check. In Sandship, that memory flag is the one that tells you Tentalis is defeated. So Yal is going to have to do the whole escape, but when he gets up to the top, Tentalis will have been defeated. And he will skip the boss fight. But as I said, you also skip the heart container. And, like, this is going to be about a 2-hour time on what was a really hideous seed.
Yeah. It was something, also. The seed.
Yeah. I will be curious for their thoughts on all of it. Including, like, those 10 loose crystals actually ended up being very important. Just not at the time we thought. I think they were somewhat bailed out, though, by the fact that they didn't have to, like, time-wise, only having to do one trial. That's the kind of thing that just lengthens a seed a lot in these settings. Yeah. Every trial you do basically adds 5 minutes. Up to 5 minutes. Yeah, we're on to the Horde. As I said, Jim has True Master Sword, which makes this first part a little easier. So without it, your Skyward Strikes will not hurt or kind of stagger the Bokoblins, which can make it the capped Bokoblins, which can make it a little tricky. But with True Master Sword, although he's not even doing it, but he could use Skyward Strikes here. The big benefit, honestly, is the True Master Sword is going to be really nice for the Girahim 3 fight for Phase 2, because you get faster charge for the stun locks.
Yeah, it's really nice to have.
Yeah. Jim now going for Horde Skip, which is if you get this Moblin in the right place, you can climb up the shield and jump over the fence and skip 2 whole phases of this fight. You skip the Moblin phase, and you also skip the Blue Boko phase, which is probably the hardest one.
And the slowest one, I'd say.
It's the slowest, for sure. It's also the one you're most likely to just get bodied by Bokos swarming you. Kind of the reason that the Horde phase, you also skip a round of Bokos shooting arrows at you. Yeah, I mean, Yal is entering Horde 3-4 minutes behind. Probably 3 minutes. So, like, this is a pretty close race. And honest, like, if Yal had gotten the slingshot trick that would have made a big difference. I don't know that it would have done it, but it the amount of time he lost with that trick, I think, was pretty major. You know, Jim did a lot. Jim did a lot more checks than Yal did this seed too. Not a lot more, but you know, he did Pirate Stronghold. He did all of Skippers. But yeah, yeah, I mean, the thing that the other time save in Sandship was Jim checked the boss key chest. Clean phase 1 from Jim. We'll see in phase 2, he's going to do a stun lock strategy that you get kind of the instant Skyward Strike charge. It makes it a lot easier. Although, like, Jim, as a long-time speedrunner, is pretty used to doing this with a bad sword, because in any percent you just have the goddess sword.
Yeah, he is really experienced. So.
Both of these runners are experienced at the vanilla speedrun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yal definitely gonna want some hearts here. He's a little nervous here. Losing a little time to kill some more Bokos, grab some hearts. You really don't want to die in Horde. It is bad time loss. Who needs hearts when you can live on the edge? Well, I don't like living on the edge in Horde at the end of a race, Crystal. But yeah, very clean G3, clean demise. He had like one little hiccup here, but the demise fight, demise responds in very predictable ways to you. So the fast strategy for this fight is pretty solved. Do you need to practice, but straightforward. And that is GG for Jim.
GG's.
And I think they were going to come in for an interview. So I'm going to pull them both in while Yal finishes up on stream here. They are on a 10-minute delay. GG Jim, GG Yal.
GG.
So what did
How
you
about
guys...
that? How about that Skyview path to itself?
Yeah.
Which I was so confident it was going to be Vanilla Beetle that I didn't even ping the chest and got kind of confused when it was nothing. And then I was like, oh, it's the other thing.
Yeah.
And like every time that I have Slingshot and Beetle, I can get the shot like maybe first or second try. But of course, when I have to do the shot to get the item, I just can't. And I took like 20 tries to get it.
Did you not have whip?
No.
When you went in? Oh.
I knew that whip. I knew because of that whip couldn't have been Beetle locked, but yeah, I had done the throw up to 40 earlier. I didn't come back to 50 until after getting the scale.
Yeah, I was gonna... So both of you actually did quite a bit of loose crystals early on, which obviously turned out to be nothing that early, although the 5 loose, I think, was important at the end of the seed. But what were you guys thinking kind of at the beginning of the seed as you were pretty heavily bottlenecked?
That's a lot of crystals, and I don't feel like going to Pirates without a Beetle.
It's a lot of crystals.
I'm also kind of upset because I intended at the start, like after flying out of Lumpy, I was just gonna land at Petro, do 5 and 10 and then dive to the cave, but for whatever reason it landed me on the other side of Skyloft. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention when I was flying in, so that was kind of disappointing, especially when I found claws on 5 anyway.
Okay, we weren't sure if that was intentional when you did
No.
Waterfall Cave first.
No, I was trying to do it backwards.
Okay, yeah, because Jasnix does that a lot. We were just saying, oh, this is like people are trying to figure out the meta for Waterfall Cave routing on Skyloft. We gave you a lot of credit for that. It's like interesting routing we've never seen before. How did you both feel when the path was the Waneru song?
I was like, well, I hope there wasn't an out-of-logic beetle that was a lot easier to get that I did not get. But thankfully, it did not seem like there was.
Yeah, no, earlier I did early Thunderhead, so I decided I'd at least try that first. But, for all I know, actually, Ballad could be in Floria, because that crystal would be not required, if it is, because Floria would be locked behind Whip.
Jim got Ballad. I don't remember where it was now.
Sandship stern chest?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Gal has it too.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I forgot that was the thing.
Yeah, the final sword was in Pirate Stronghold too.
That makes sense.
So yeah, Jim did pirates and skippers, which you were able to skip.
Yeah, that's the question.
I think the other major time loss was probably it took me a while to get backwards mines, and I also I was so convinced that there was a beam for an item on top of LMF, so I'm like, let's be greedy, let's not get a tier so I can death warp with Guardians easier, only to get hit twice trying to climb up the tower, so I eventually just gave up on that. And then, I mean, we had the Season 3 classic of the item is on the trial reward anyway, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you both actually ended up going and getting those hints in Volcano Summit, which, from my perspective, is like, you probably were confused and looking for guidance on the paths, and then those paths ended up being pretty useless. Well, the Patro path, maybe not, but the upper Skyloft to Colossus, that was the Amber Tablet you had for an hour.
I never got an upper Skyloft to Colossus. Was that the other Volcano Summit hintstone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Jim got both Summit hints. Yeah, you only got the one.
Yeah, I mean, I assume the Batro one was for claw shots.
I mean, Whip also works
It was
based on where the boss key was, but
so
Yeah, it could have been either.
one or the
But-
other.
I was thinking.
Oh wait,
for
no,
a
yeah,
while-
because we started in
Yes.
Skipper's Retreat. Yeah, never mind.
We started in Skippers, but where was Baby Rattle? Because if that was locked behind like main,
Yeah,
if that was locked behind like main Laneru, then
anyways.
then the claw shots are still path.
I don't remember where Baby Rattle was.
I think Chuck sniffing its usual.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I think it was like fire node somewhere or lightning.
That sounds.
It
right.
might have been
That
Fire
sounds
Node.
right. Yeah, Fire Node sounds correct.
Okay, yeah. So claw shots are also potentially path, but
Uh,
it ended up being Whip anyway.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to ask you two about from the seed. I was like taking notes. You all kind of lucked out that you didn't need a lot of money early on. I think that was the other thing.
okay.
I was
we were
worried.
watching.
Like, I was worried that it was going to be a choice between 10 loose out of logic or 5 loose plus spend 300 on the crystals.
Death Egg Robot.
Which, I mean, to be fair, well, you only ended up having to do... You technically didn't even... I don't even think you had to do loose to get the wallet on 330 because there was a crystal pack on 10, but...
Yeah, Yes, you did not need it. Technically, you did not need loose crystals for anything. But there was a second crystal pack, I think, on 600.
Yes,
So,
there was a second crystal pack on 600.
Yeah, so the loose crystals helped you all.
I saw you had like 9,000 rupees. I only got 2 progressive wallets, and I saw a second extra wallet, but I only picked up 1. So,
see, 3 of the wallets. One of the wallets was the end of Boko Base. One of them was Sandship Captain's Cabin, or Boss Key Chest.
Okay, I didn't get that.
And the last one that I remember was on Skipper's Retreat, Cactus Pillar, I think.
That all adds up.
Speaking of which,
You still there, Yal?
Yeah, I just finished my thought.
Oh, you said speaking of which, so I thought you had something else. Sorry.
No, that was my roommate, not me.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm muting occasionally.
No, all good. You two don't have any more thoughts. Echo, do you have any other questions?
No, it was a pretty close seed, so it was cool to watch.
Yeah, for how awful the seed was, you two did pretty well time-wise. Although I think it helped that you only had to go into one trial. Although it was very funny. That was the comment. The beetle on the linear trial reward was very funny.
Yeah.
That was probably the other place, Yal, that I think you lost some time. Because Jim kind of routed in the tiers a little more efficiently than you did.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to play it risky, to just like keep the guardians around, because otherwise, you have to like run into a watcher or something.
Yeah.
If you like happen to find the item early and you want to leave by warping out.
Yeah, you took a couple deaths in the linear trial
before we do that,
too. That's actually, we kind of forgot about that, but yeah, that ended up being pretty costly, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't have anything else, so I think we are going to wrap up. Game 2 is, let me just get the timing and the channel. Game 2 is going to be 3:10 Eastern tomorrow. Yeah. It will be on ZSR main. We'll also have another race, Oni versus Jaznix Game 2, an hour later on ZSR 3. But with that, we are going to go right over to main ZSR. Thank you to our 2 trackers, Vibrant Viola and Featherblade. Please give them a follow. Thank you to Echo for commentating with me. And of course, please give our runners a follow as well. Have a good Saturday night, everyone. And thanks for watching.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.